Guess what? Today, I'm going to show you exactly how to recreate the intro from my last video, and trust me, you're going to love this. I've broken the tutorial into two fun and powerful parts. First, you'll learn how to create that smooth Instagram-style slideshow effect that gives your intro a clean, modern vibe. Then, I'll walk you through how to build an eye-catching stop-motion animation that brings serious energy to your edits. These effects are easy to pull off, super fun to use, and will take your video intros to the next level. So stick around till the end, and let's get started. Okay, let's kick things off by dragging the screenshot we have over to the viewer section. We'll start building our masks by adding an ellipse mask node first. Now, just carefully follow that green circle you see on the screenshot in the viewer, and adjust the ellipse's size and position to put it right on top of the profile image. After that, we need to mask another part, so add a rectangle mask node to mask the second part, maybe the name or some text. And then, you're just going to do the same for all the other parts you want to select. I'm just going to speed through this part because honestly, it's a bit of a boring one, just tracing shapes. Alright, after you're done masking all the individual pieces, the next step is to copy the original image and paste it for each mask you have. Then, for each pasted image, connect its corresponding mask node to its mask input. Now, if you were to connect the last image node to the media out, you'll notice you'll see just the last mask you connected. So, to fix that, we simply need to merge all these masked image nodes together. You do this by connecting the first image node's output to the second image's output, then the second image's output to the third's output, and so on, to the end of that chain of images. Alright, so when you're all done connecting them, everything now it's show up in the viewer looking good. So it's time to add a background for this part. You do that by dragging the background node icon to the workspace. Then, connect the output to the output of the last merge node you were working with. And if things look a bit weird, now just press Ctrl+T to swap the input of our new merge node to get the image right. Now it's time to animate. I'll start by animating the profile pic. So, first up, select your image for the profile picture, and then click the transform icon in the toolbar to add a transform node right after it. Then go forward in your timeline to around frame 35 and put a keyframe for size, angle, and center on that transform node. After that, back to frame 0 you go, and let's move the position of the X value to the left so it slides in. Then try to change the rotation, but you might notice this is not the way we want for the rotation. So to fix that, just move the pivot point on the transform node to the middle of the profile image. That way, the rotation will happen right in place. And as the last step for frame 0, increase the value of size so it starts bigger and scales down. But let's make it smooth by opening the spline editor. Make sure you select the transform node so its keyframes show up, then select all the keyframes in the spline editor, press right-click, and select Ease Out Cubic. Yeah, that's much better. You know, I don't want to see it right at the very first frame before it animates in. So to hide it initially, just add a rectangle mask node and connect it to the mask input of the first merge node in our image chain, the one that combines the profile pic with the next element. This will ensure the mask will affect just the profile pic. So move the position of this new rectangle mask to put it where you want the reveal to happen. Then press the invert box and finally, just increase the soft edge slider a bit for a smoother appearance. Yeah, that's all for the profile pic animation. Let's move to the second part, maybe the name and follower count. For this, I want it to show up as a slide from left to right. So to do that, add another rectangle mask node and connect it to the mask input of the first one that's already on this section's image. Then select your first rectangle mask node and change the paint mode to minimum. So now just adjust the size and position of this rectangle mask to fit all the text we have in this section, and move it all the way to the left of the text to make the text disappear initially. Then go to around frame 26 and put a keyframe for the center parameter of this animated mask. Next, move forward about 20 frames and move the animated mask to the right to show all the text, creating the second keyframe. So now just increase the soft edge and then open the spline editor to smooth the animation. You do this by selecting all keyframes, press S to smooth them, then press Ctrl+T, or find the option, to control the easing in and out. So that's it for that slide. But we still have one more step for this section. I want to erase the name and the follower number from the original image underneath. You'll understand why in a few moments. But for now, let's make that happen. So for that, I will add a background node. Then connect the output of this background node to the output of the image node that contains the name/followers, creating a merge node. Next, add a polygon mask and connect it to this new background node's mask input. Then, carefully draw your shape with the polygon tool to cover up just the name and follower number on the original image. Okay, let's move on to the third animation, maybe for another section of the screenshot. So for this one, I'll add a background node again, and this time connect its output to the output of the third picture in our chain, creating another merge. Also add a rectangle mask and connect it to the mask input of this new background node. Then adjust that rectangle mask to mask the part you want to animate or reveal. Now move to frame 35 and add a keyframe for the center of this rectangle mask. Then move forward 10 frames and drag the mask up or in whatever direction you want the reveal to happen, creating the second keyframe. After that, open the spline editor, select all these keyframes, then press S to smooth the animation. So that's it. We have the top part of the animation done. Let's move to the down part. So go to around frame 95. After your first video or image element, the one at the bottom, select it and add a transform node. On this transform node, put a keyframe for angle, size, and center at frame 95. Then, back to frame 55 you go. Here, decrease the Y value of the center parameter to make it move down and disappear from the frame initially. Then, increase the size a little bit so it starts slightly larger, and change the angle as well for some rotation as it comes in. Now, go and open the spline editor, select all these keyframes, and smooth them. Now, the first video animation is done. Let's make that happen for the other videos or images you have at the bottom. You can do this by copying the transform node we just animated and pasting it onto all of your other video image nodes you have. After you've finished pasting, select all these transform nodes. Go and open the keyframes section. Press the icon to show the keys for all selected nodes. Now, if you see the name of the first transform node we animated, you'll notice its keyframes are the earliest. We want to offset the others. So go to the first keyframe of that first transform node. Move forward 3 frames in the timeline. Then select both keyframes of the second transform node and move them to start at this new 3-frame offset. Make the same adjustment for all the other transform nodes. Move forward another 3 frames from the start of the previous one and move the keyframes of the next transform node to it. After you're done doing that for all of them, you will have this awesome staggered animation effect. So let's move to the next step, which involves adding a DVE node for a 3D-like effect. Go to frame 0 and add a DVE node after everything we've built so far. On this DVE node, add a keyframe for the X value of rotation, Z move for zoom, and pivot point. Then go to frame 35 and put a keyframe for these values also to define the end state of this initial 3D move. After that, scrub all the way back to frame 0. Now, we're going to change the Z move, and then also adjust the X angle to give it a tilted starting position. And while you're at it, change the pivot point a little upside by adjusting its Y value slightly. This combination will really give it that 3D animation look as we start the entire effect. Also go to frame 35 and change these values also. But this time, the goal is to focus the camera view more for the profile, or the main subject appearing at this point. So now open the spline editor, select all these DVE keyframes, press S, and then you can increase the value of ease in and out using Ctrl+T to make it smooth. Then go 1 frame forward from the end of this DVE animation, so frame 36. Here, change the value of Z move and the pivot point on the DVE node again to make the name area, where we erased the original name, appear in the middle of the screen, nice and big. Now, to actually write the name, I will add a text plus node to the workspace, and then I will connect it before the DVE node we just animated. So just type your name in the text plus node and change the font. You can search for the same Instagram font on Google if you want to be exact, but for me, I will choose this font here, which I like. So change the position and size of this text to fit the right place within that name area on the screenshot. And for me, I will animate this text as a slide-in. So I will add a rectangle mask node and connect it to the mask input of the text plus node. Then go to a frame where you want the animation to happen. If you notice you see nothing of the text at this point, this is probably because of the zoom from the DVE node. So all you have to do is temporarily drag the text plus node itself to the viewer. Then you can adjust the position of your mask so you can see the text and position the mask correctly relative to it. So make sure you're at frame 36, right after the DVE brings the name area into focus. Put a keyframe for the center of your text mask. Then go forward about 5 frames and drag the mask to the right to reveal the whole word. Increase the soft edge a little on the mask to make a smooth merge. Then open the spline graph, select all these mask keyframes, then press S. Now, return the media out to the viewer so we can see everything together. Let's add that highlight effect for the name. First, copy your animated text mask and paste it into the workspace. Then, add a background node also to the workspace. Connect the output of this new background node to the output of your merge node. This will create a new merge. Then, connect the pasted animated mask to the mask input of this new background node. So, let's change the color of this background node from black to the color you want for the highlight. This setup lets us see what happens. We'll have the background color all around the frame except where the mask is, which is the opposite of what we want for a highlight that follows the text. So, to fix that, we need to add another mask to constrain the highlight area. Add a new static rectangle mask first. Adjust the position and size of this new static mask to define where we want the highlight to actually show up, basically framing the text area. Take your time in this operation. When you're done, select your merge node and change its apply mode to screen or add or linear dodge. Then connect the output of the animated mask to the input of this new static mask. Finally, select the new static mask, the one defining the highlight area, and change its paint mode to minimum. So now we should have the same animation for the highlight as the text. But I want to add some delay to the highlight. So select the animated mask, open the keyframes section, select its keyframes, and just drag them a few frames to the right. So we have it, the highlight now lags behind the text. Now let's move to the next step. So let's add a new DVE node after the previous one. Go to around frame 55 and add a keyframe for the pivot point, Z move, and X rotation on this new DVE. Then move forward around 45 frames to frame 100. Here, increase the value of Z move to make it zoom out, and change the pivot point to make sure you see the full image back in the middle of the screen. Also, add some X rotation as you like for a bit of flair. So now we have this kind of boring linear animation. We need to smooth that out. But before that, I want the DVE animation to end when the slide effect of the bottom videos ends. So for me, that's around frame 110. Go to frame 110 and add keyframes for all 3 parameters on the DVE, keeping the values the same as frame 100. Now, you can return to frame 100 and remove the keyframes there if you want the movement to happen between frame 55 and 110. Or you can do this from the keyframe editor by just deleting them. So anyway, open the spline editor, select all the keyframes for this DVE, press S, then increase the ease in and out to make it more smoother. And now, for the third DVE animation, to highlight the follower count, add another DVE node after the last one. Go back around 10 frames from where the previous DVE animation settled. On this newest DV, add keyframes for pivot, Z move, and X rotation. Then go forward around 45 frames. Here, decrease the Z move to make it zoom in. We need this animation to highlight the follower number, so adjust the pivot point to make sure those numbers end up in the middle of the screen. Also, change the X rotation so we can see the number as flat as possible, or nearly flat. This really depends on your vision, so make sure you be creative with the angle. After you finish setting up that DVE zoom, we need to add the text for the actual follower number. Connect the output of a new text plus node to the merge node that's before all the DVE nodes, the one merging the screenshot elements. This will create a new merge node. So drag that new merge node to the viewer for a moment. Now select the text plus node and write your number you want to add. I forget the exact number of followers, so I'll just write 70K for now. Now adjust the size, position, and the font as you like to make sure it fits in the right place over where the original follower count was. So after this, right-click in the text input box of this text plus node and select Text Scramble. Go to the Modifiers tab, add a keyframe for randomness, and increase the value at the frame where you want the scramble to start. Then go forward a couple of frames and return the randomness value to 0. Next, return to that first scramble keyframe and swap to the Tools tab. Change the color of the text. I'll choose red for the scrambled state and put a keyframe. Then move to the other keyframe and return the color to white, setting another keyframe. Let's make it fade in also. So go to the first scramble keyframe and put a keyframe for opacity in shading. At 1, then go back 1 frame and make the opacity 0, creating the fade in. Now drag the media out to the viewer to see the final result. But this scramble might be very fast, so I'll change that. Select the Text Plus node. I'll return to where I want the scramble to start happening. Then go to the Modifiers tab and put the keyframe for randomness there, at a high value. You can press the arrow icon to go to the middle keyframe if there was one, and remove it. Yeah, we can't see the result now because of the fade-in we made. So go to the Tools tab and find the opacity keyframes. Let's remove the keyframe at frame 148, or wherever your scramble ended, and then go back to frame 132, or where your scramble starts, and make sure the opacity is 0 there. Some tips for, if the animation lags. Right-click in the timeline viewer and uncheck motion blur and high quality. Yeah, that gives a better playback result. But for the scramble, I need just the numbers to scramble, not letters if I accidentally type them. So return to the Modifiers tab for the text scramble, and in the Character Set or Similar option, delete all letters from here. Just leave the numbers 0 through 9. Yeah, let's move to the next animation. Another zoom out. Add a new DVE node for that after the last one. At around frame 155, put a keyframe for Z move and pivot point. Then go forward to around frame 190 and change the values. Increase the Z move to make it zoom out again, and change the pivot point back to the middle of your overall image. Okay, just so you know, where you want to put your keyframes often depends on your voiceover, where a sentence ends, or where you want to focus the viewer's attention. So now open the spline editor to make this DVE animation smooth. Then you should have this nice zoom out animation. For a final rotation, go a couple of frames back from your last DVE keyframe, so maybe frame 188. Add a transform node, a 2D transform this time, after all the DVEs. Add a keyframe for angle on this transform node. Then go forward about 1 second, maybe to frame 210-ish, and change the angle value to 90 degrees. Open the spline editor for this angle and smooth it. And let's add those black slider bars that come in. First up, go to the first keyframe of the angle animation. Add a background node to the workspace. Connect its output to the output of the last DVE node. Add a rectangle mask and connect it to the mask input of this new background node. Set the background color to black. On the rectangle mask, add a keyframe for height and set it to 0. Then go to frame 210, where the angle animation ends, and drag the height of the rectangle mask all the way up so it covers the screen vertically. And make sure the width of the mask fits the entire screen. But even with that, you might still see a part of the image peeking through at the edges. So to fix that, select the black background node, swap to its Image tab, uncheck Auto Resolution, and then increase the height slider for the background itself until it fully covers everything. And that should fix it. Now it's time to add the last text. Make sure to connect this new text node before the 2D transform node that's doing the 90-degree rotation, so the text rotates with it. Then write your word. I'll write 100K. Swap to the Layout tab for this text, and to make it align with the 90-degree rotation, put the Z rotation value to -90. Now to get that text looking right, decrease the center Z value. Keep tweaking that until all the text fits nicely onto the screen. The text flipped around the right way, but it's showing up over the other image elements, so copy the animated rectangle mask, the one creating the black slider bars, and paste it into the workspace. Connect its output to the mask input of your new 100K Text Plus node. So now the text will have the same reveal animation as the black bars. To make it look more better, just increase the soft edge a bit on this mask for the text. Now to add a final zoom in, go to frame 210, where the rotation and black bars are fully in. Add a new 2D transform node after the rotation. Put a keyframe for size. Then move to the end of your animation and increase the value of size for the zoom. Go and open the spline editor to make it smoother. Then let's say I want to swap the 100K text to 500K, and also I want to change its color at some point. So go to the frame where you want that to happen. Put a keyframe for the solid background color of the text in the Shading tab. Go forward 1 frame and change the color to white, or whatever new color, and make the same for the actual text content. And change the text to 500K. Yeah, that's it for that part. Now let's move to the second animation in my intro, a stop motion effect. So in the Fusion tab, make sure all the nodes you have are showing up. You can increase the workspace size by dragging the dividers for a better result. And now you're going to start by deleting the nodes one by one in the reverse order of how you want them to disappear or appear in your animation. After you remove one node, open the snipping tool or any screenshot tool to take a screenshot. Make sure the image you want to take is full screen or at least captures the whole Fusion viewer. Then press back into Fusion and press Ctrl+Z to show the last node you removed to undo the deletion. Then take a new screenshot. Then repeat these steps to the end. Ctrl+Z and take a screenshot. Make sure you don't do anything else except these two steps. Ctrl+Z screenshot to make the effect work correctly. And yeah, you could take a video of yourself doing this and then make a cut every time a node changes, but I like this screenshot way. So when you're done, go to the file location where you saved all these photos and put them all into a new folder. Drag this folder into the media pool in DaVinci Resolve under the master bin. Select all the photos in that folder in the media pool and drag them onto your timeline. Then select all of them in the timeline and press Ctrl+D to change the clip duration. Swap the format from timecode to frames and put the duration to 1 for 1 frame per image. Now go to the Edit menu at the top, slide down to Timeline, and find Delete Gaps and click it. Now you can right-click on all these selected images in the timeline and press New Compound Clip. So you have it, your stop motion sequence. Now for a 3D animation look for this stop motion, you can delete that compound clip from the timeline for a moment and instead add a Fusion composition clip from the effects library. Make its duration as long as you want your final animation to be. Then, open this Fusion composition in the Fusion page. From the media pool, add your compound clip, the stop motion sequence, then connect it to the media out. You might want to add a rectangle mask to the compound clip to mask just the workspace area if your screenshots included more than that. And then, select your compound clip image sequence node and press Ctrl+Space to search for Time Stretcher. Add it. This way you can change the speed of your stop motion animation as you want over any duration you've set for the Fusion comp. You just want to go to the first frame of the Fusion comp and on the Time Stretcher node put a keyframe for source time and set it to 0. Then go to the last frame of your Fusion comp. Now, you need to know how many frames are in your original compound clip. You can select the media in node for the compound clip and look at the global in-out value where it says out. That's your total frame count. Let's say it's 73 in my case. So now, select the Time Stretcher node again, and in the source time parameter, write your result number, 73 in my case. So now all you have to do to adjust the speed is open the spline graph for the Time Stretcher's source time parameter, and make your own custom curve. This really depends on your vision. You can make it speed up, slow down, etc. After you finish that, you can go and add a DVE node or other 3D nodes after the time stretcher to give it 3D perspective and movement. But how to do that full 3D treatment I will cover in another video, so make sure you subscribe to see my next videos. See you next time, salam!